And so from there, we can go over to our production order workspace. And again, if we pause right here, there's a lot of great information available in our production order. We won't go into great detail with this today, but you see things like we've got our labor, our move, materials, all kinds of different information, and including like labor, the scanning options here. We have clock entry, scan move. Same thing with materials. We can take advantage of this functionality, the scanning of the items. Let's go ahead and go into the production order. And that's right here in my production order, maintenance. And just like we've been working with up until now, we're going to go straight to that AM 9000. And that is right there. And the screens are similar. We've got our header on the top. And that header information that you see up there is going to match what we had back over on the bill of materials. And so there's a lot going on. Clearly some unique information that we want to identify. So down there in the general tab, that's what we currently have highlighted. We have some dates over here that are flowing in. That's, again, unique to this information. What else does it tell us? That we, up here on the top, that we have 25 that we're trying to produce through this process. And then on our references tab, again, very important, we know which order right here. I'm going to highlight the whole thing, but you can see the sales order 7748 is where this came from. It doesn't have to be that way, but we can tell right away from looking at this production order what's going on. We can tell if this was copied over from which bill of materials. We can also identify that it was here. If you have multiple bills of material and if you're going through a few revisions, we can know which one of these was built on. We can also go and see the history. Why did we put this together? Why was this hole not drilled in this for this item? Because you may have those kind of questions. Why do we do it this way? So we know exactly which bill of material and which revision we were working on in this process. Also note down here, and that's what I meant with this source section. Over here on the right-hand side, we have our project. So if this is project related, because some manufacturers do work with projects, then we can see which project is related to. When we have events, now this is a fun one because we can see exactly everything that's been going on across the system as we've been creating information. So like, when was the production order created? We know that the admin created this order, the date that it was created, the date that it was released, which was the same day, maybe just a little bit later from a different user. Again, we know who released it. We know if it was put on hold and back on releasing it. We'll see all those activities if materials were issued against it. Who issued it? Was it Andrews? He released it. When did he release it? Why did he release it? Then we also have things like the labor transaction right here. And then we can also see that somebody printed the production order. And then materials, for example, we can see maybe this is like maybe you call this the traveler. And if we drill back into that information, here's the ticket. Again, ticket, traveler, whatever makes sense. So this was issued on operation number 10. You see that right here. So remember that from the bill of material. We were looking at that earlier. These are the same materials. And here's the quantities that were issued with that. And then we talked about that labor just a moment ago. When I drill back into the labor, we can see that this time was entered by employee number 4 right there. And then I need to open this up a little bit more so you can see more data. They entered specifically 4 hours, but they ignored the clock entry. We just let them enter the time directly. And again, that's helpful information because it's going to help us drive and understand what kind of cost went in there. for that production order. All right. Now let's go to the totals tab. And we have three sections. We have the planned section, the actual section, and variance. Planned, like it sounds like this is what we intended to do. This is what we were planning all along. But the actual shows, what was actually issued. That's this section right here. So we see that we have the 40, how much material. We have a total of 2,146.25 that we've issued on this product. So where do we stand on the cost at this moment right now? The WIP balance. And then over here, the variance, think of that as the difference between what we plan to do and what we're actually doing. So we're still missing 17 hours. We're short on some items so far, just giving you an idea of what's going on. And then way over there on the far right-hand side, these are what we call side panels. And again, useful information so that you can drill back on data without getting too specific. These can be restricted, or they can be unlimited. You can use these to try, so there's a lot of information going on here. So it's just really tracking some analytics on this particular side panel. So in this case, what do we have here? We have, it's showing us operation 10 that we've worked on. Down here, the amount of labor that we've put into this so far. If we keep scrolling down, we'll see, again, just a visual of what we were talking about with those variances. So again, a lot of good information here. And you can go with any and all of those different side panels accordingly. So it's just a great snapshot of where you stand with the details. Up here on the top, we have the production details. So when I click on this, it's kind of really easy to go through the production details. This should look very familiar from when we were looking at the bill of materials. We have the header, we have the middle, we have the bottom. All of this is pretty much the same. A couple of differences. We don't show a revision at the top because we're not concerned about the revision. This is what we actually did. That revision is managed back in the bill of materials. This is really the specific production order. We have the quantities. Let's see, right over here, that we know that we're supposed to produce. So we have, we're supposed to do 25. We've done 10 on that first operation. There we go. You see we have 10 on that first operation. Then we still have a whole lot more to do. And then down here in the bottom section, we've got a little note that came up here overlapping here, but I wanted to make sure to point out that we have the quantities that we have available down here on the bottom with each of these operations. Again, very important, so you know what you have available, what kind of materials do we need. But up here on the top, if I go, I'm gonna go back to the production order maintenance and hit my more button here. There's a report here for critical materials. It's gonna let us know what we need for the production. Starts off with blank, but if I do show, because we do have the materials, but if we show all items and what's allocated, again, very helpful for us when we're doing the production, that we can see that the items that we have, that we need, that we have remaining, a little bit of everything. All right, let's go back to the production order again, just one more time, and just kind of stop here at the more menu options that we have. Just talk about the options we have available, like putting items on hold, releasing, completing the order, canceling the order. Those are the top. We already talked a little bit about details you get. We did the critical materials section, but again, just a lot of different ways that you can manipulate and go through the different sets of data that are in the system. And then finally, production ticket. Now this is going to be useful So we have barcodes turned on here. You can print this out, and this will be traveling across the floor. It's the traveler, whatever terminology you prefer to go with. But it gives you something that you can scan, whether you're using a scanner, a camera, mobile device, a scanner attached to your PC, whatever it is. You can take advantage of the barcodes that are listed here. And we do have multiple pages of this. So as it's going from operation to operation, from work center to work center, location to location, you'll have all that data available to you.